well. And let's just hop into a couple really cool things. First, let's go ahead and look at what we have behind us. And I've been tinkering with some concepts on this a little bit, and we're going to be making some pretty heavy modifications on this. I don't have a plan of what I'm going to be putting the Atlas 4200 in yet, but this is a pretty critical part that we need to solve out. And if you're wondering, it is a front-facing intake manifold that will be able to accept any 92 millimeter style LS throttle body. Big modifications are coming in. And if you saw the title there, that is sharp. If you saw the title there, you'd see that VanZandt Industries is now a thing. So we're going to be hopefully powering ourselves. We're going to do some pretty cool things. Now, we started out with one 3D printer. We're up to three 3D printers, but I would like to expand beyond just 3D printed parts. It's one of the big things that we're going to have to accomplish. I want to make front-facing intake manifolds for the 7M GTE, the Atlas 4200, and I would like to make my own intake manifolds for the 1UZ FE, with the focus of being able to make things here completely in the States. And at the end of the day, I have a goal. I have a mission. What's up, Colleen? How are you? My mission is, I have a cat scratching some cardboard underneath me. My mission is to make Popsicle the greatest cat in the whole wide world. He is a big boy. He's like, whoa, why you attack me? No, my mission is to be able to try to get the industry back to what it used to be. I'm working on, I want to do a video explaining why I'm doing this. And the biggest part, of course, is when I was younger, in high school, actually, I bought my first car at 14. It was a perfect representation of a third generation Supra. I really felt it kind of looked like a Trans Am. So $900. Imagine being able to buy a rust-free two-door coupe hatchback nowadays, especially seeing how at that point it would have been a 14-year-old car. Actually, that one would have been a 15. It was an 88. So imagine being able to spend $900 on a car that was not a rust bucket. It's insane. And then you were able to take a car. When I was in high school, I bought another one for $300, and I spent $2,000 getting it on the road and having fun with it, going to the track, going to the valley, going to autocross events. And you can't do that anymore. So why am I starting VanZandt Industries? Well, guys, I want you guys to do the same thing and take your strengths to do it. Whether it's like, I'm a tech guy. I really love technology. I don't use it in my everyday life. I don't think cars should have as much technology as they do. But we all have our strengths. We need to take our industry back. At the end of the day, I'm more than okay with companies making profit. That is fine. But we need to be able to also kind of drive where the industry goes. And we don't have that control anymore. A lot of the stuff that we need to for our cars is just being out sent to other countries where the quality is just, some of it's good, some of it's not, and we have an opportunity, we should seize it. So let's go ahead and before I get into something that's sitting right there, actually, I don't think you can see it. I think I might be blocking it. Say hello to Colleen, Thomas, Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's Colleen's son and her channel, their channel. Head over there and hit the subscribe button. Captain Dew, how are you? Yeah, bought a 71 Challenger in 85 for $250. That's wild. So yeah, if you've noticed the name of the logo, it's VanZandt Industries. It's an official recognized in New York State. It's underneath my corporation directly, so it's underneath Kilowatt Studios, which is LunarOutlaw's garage, which is a trademark. All of that's trademarked underneath, in a business underneath as a subsidiary of Kilowatt Studios. VanZandt Industries, we're working on getting all of that ironed out. Legally, it's a company. Like to trademark some parts of it. The logo and Car Buddy and everything, that is trademarked. And the goal is to be able to protect ourselves so that we can do, like it seems to me like an insurmountable task, but I need to do it. So I've been hard at work making a lot of parts. We've had really terrible weather, so I've been taking advantage of it. I'd really like to get that 8.1 inside there. But we have, Colleen actually asked if I could make some of these last week. These are the block off ports for a small block LA. So if you have a Mopar LA, thank Colleen, these go right onto the exhaust. But these are actually more like a bigger seller than my carb buddies. Specifically these are the block off intake and exhaust ports for a 4200 Atlas. But these right here are block off plates for the 8.1 liter. I needed to get these done so that I could start getting the engine out there. We have a major problem with squirrels and chipmunks, more specifically chipmunks. I had to go through both the Buick and the red Supra and take a bunch of the interior panels off, a lot of the engine panels off of stuff, just to get all the crap that they put in there before it sits in there for too long and causes damage. But they make terrible messes. So there's going to be a time where the 8.1 is going to be sitting inside the engine bay with no protection. So I have a bunch of block off ports that are plates for that, and I'm really hoping we can start digging into that very soon. So initially my goal is to take anything that I need, I'm going to manufacture and then give the opportunity for you guys to pick it up. If I have a problem, I'm sure other people have had the same problem, and if I can offer a solution that is a reasonable price made in the States, I'm going to do that. Any plans for making a shifter knob for a manual transmission? I had not thought about that, but if I was to do that, I would probably go with, yeah, we could do that. I would still want like a leather outside. There's something about like a nice leather shift knob as opposed to a hard plastic or a rubberized one, which is fine. I'm not a leather guy, but I'm sure I could. What would they be called? Tandy Electronics. Before they became Radio Shack, they were into leather. I can't remember what they're called. What leather workers are. Tanners? No, tanners are the ones that make the leather. What do you guys tell me? I don't know. Colleen says, I found out today that the Carb Buddy has a magnet in it. Did you see? So the very first manufactured run had a magnet. I ended up not continuing that because it was kind of gimmicky. I'd rather sell you a quality product that does what you need. So the first 25 of them had magnets in it, and you can actually see where the original O-ring was in the design. So that is going to be a artifact from the product moving forward. I cut the gimmicks out, and it came down to one of the biggest issues I had was I like pocket knives. I like to keep a pocket knife on me. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing crazy. It's not a flip crazy one. It's not. It's just a good old fashioned case pocket knife. It does a job. It does it really, really well. If you go and I don't know if I'm allowed to show a pocket knife on YouTube. Give a look. I recently got hit with a community standard for putting my son, who was in the driver's seat of a car with no drive shaft, and he pushed on the gas pedal and potentially could have caused damage to the engine. They put a community guideline strike on me for that. That was insane. To the point where I tried reaching out to them, having an attorney reach out to them, and they don't respond. So right now I'm in probation because my son almost, had too much fun. He stepped on the gas pedal of the car, they couldn't go forward. So I'm not going to show a pocket knife. Anyways, a Swiss Army knife is great. It can do a bunch of things. And does it all of those things, poorly. It has a crappy knife, it has a crappy corkscrew. It's a nice little gimmicky thing you can throw in your backpack. Or you just get a proper tool. So I nixed a lot of the nonsense out of it and decided we're going to just make a quality product that just does a job. And then the other cool thing is this right here. So you have the standard Carb Buddies, but as we are going into next year is 250 years. I was not around for the bicentennial, but I heard it was a lot of fun. I was actually talking to my mother-in-law today about the bicentennial, and she said how they had actually painted all the fire hydrants and stuff as little soldiers and stuff like that throughout the area. That's like wicked cool. And I'm really hoping next year we have an absolute good time. I'm really looking forward to the 250th anniversary of the United States. To celebrate, some pretty awesome stuff, both entering the 5-week mark of starting my own automotive parts manufacturing company, and the fact that we're almost to 250 years, and the 4th of July, realistically, scarily enough, is right around the corner. I've produced this. This is the 1776 edition of the Car Buddy. It's only going to be available in the top hat version of it, mostly because I'm hoping to see these things at drag strips. I have a bunch of friends that run their cars with no air cleaner down the drag strip, and in between heats, they just throw a rag over it. So I'm hoping to see a bunch of them rocking this thing on their drag cars. Also, I'm having significant problems with getting the color swaps in between to not interfere with the geometry. So I'd rather not fight with that. So we have the 1776 Car Buddy. So anyways, having fun. Let's see. Oh, let's go back up first. Catch up. Chipmunks and squirrels always place nuts in vehicles and drive me nuts. It's wild where they just stuff them everywhere. And then they find a spot and they get into, I think some of it's mice too, but it's just, yeah. We had a Fisher cat for a while running around, and we had no problems for like a good solid year. And then my black Super had 0 rust, right? No rust whatsoever. And I brought it from my mom's house to here. And while I was renovating the house, and before I started my YouTube channel, there was no engine in it. And it sat in my garage for about a year. And then I had to pull it out of the garage because I was doing woodworking and I needed the space. So doing renovations, doing the woodworking stuff, putting hardwood flooring in, all this. So I needed the space, so I put the Super outside. And in that time period, the squirrels and mice, I'm assuming it was chipmunks, honestly, but chipmunks got into the car and they got above the rear pillars and made nests and stuff, and actually created rust in spots that it's not big. There's just little tiny rust spots. But now I have to fix those spots. And I'm on a warpath of those stupid little buggers. But yeah, chipmunks, squirrels, mice, they're all evil little things. So every year now I strip the interior to as much as you really can without going too wild. I get into the nooks and crannies you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, and fix it. Clean it, I should say. Yes, Colleen, you got one of the very, very, very first ones. The biggest issue was trying. So one, in order for them to be considered manufactured or made in the United States, not just manufactured in the United States, a certain percentage of the material has to be from the U.S. and blah, 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 blah. I had no way of guaranteeing where the magnets were coming from, and I was having a wicked hard time getting quality out of them. So I would buy the hundreds, and so I have probably close to 200 of them left. And they're 1 inch. They're 19 millimeter. No, they're bigger than 19. I think they're 1 inch, and they're 3 millimeters wide, deep. And some of them would like whip across the room and find metal. Like some of them, not literally, but they were really strong. And some of them could barely hold on to the steel I-beam going through my house. So I'd rather sell a quality product than trying to fight that and create a gimmick. Having fun is what most YouTube videos are all about. What the heck? Yeah, I don't understand what the heck happened there. They wouldn't tell me how he was in danger. They just said you violated community standards, and I was like, whatever. The problem is, where else do we go? I've posted videos on X. I've posted videos on TikTok. I have a larger following on TikTok. I'm really hoping it gets banned. It's either a security concern or it isn't. You know, make a decision up. Get rid of it. Instagram is terrible. I hate Instagram. I post things on there. I put things on Rumble. YouTube is the only place that I understand the algorithm, so to a certain extent. Let's see. 1776, also known as freedom. When my little brother brought over my new project, I was, and my late uncle opened the hood thing. Air cleaner was full of acorns. That's very common. All over the carb inside the hood. So yeah, the biggest scary part is if you get it. I'm working on getting a vehicle that I really am hoping we get our hands on. It'll be awesome. We'll be able to really kind of have some automotive archaeology on it, and I'm so excited about it because it's not a Mach 1, but it's obviously been hot rodded, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what someone at some point in the late 70s. This poor thing was parked. It was towed to its spot, and that's where it lives. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it, guys. But I want to do some archaeology of how they hot rodded that car. It's a time capsule. It's rough. Oh, Lord knows it's rough. But we'll see. It'd be a really cool hot rod to see the mindset of the owner. Unfortunately, his plan was to continue restoring it, or eventually restore it, and unfortunately that day won't come. He did pass away. So I'm hoping. We'll see what we can do. I'm looking forward to it. It'd just be kind of a little side little, doing the square body, but I want to look at it. But other than that, guys, how are you all? How are you all on this beautiful Sunday? How was your last week? Are you hopefully having better than I am? We had one really nice day, and unfortunately I was unable to do anything that day. But, yeah, Colleen, you have yourself a wonderful night. No, not a problem. God bless. Yeah. Well, Captain, dude, you're what, 3 hours south of me. It is nonstop reading. Like it's just, I'm very much looking forward to being able to work on the square body. And every time I have time to do it, it's just been either brutally cold or rainy. And currently, the thing that we need to do is remove the front suspension, needle scale it, and put some rust reformer on the frame. It's a solid frame, but we want to get a good spray on it, and then hit it with some roll cage paint like we did for both the Buick and the back of the frame. Then we need to run the whole suspension back on it, lay it down, and then we need to run fuel lines and stuff like that. But if we can't get decent weather, I'm not saying it has to be sunny and 70. It just needs to be relatively decent humidity, preferably underneath the 50 percentile, and at least over 40 degrees. It's not ideal, no, but I've done that with the Buick, and it had no problems with the paint. Actually, I think there was still snow on the ground, but there was no humidity. So, Thomas says my last week has been. Let's see. I think that's a cringe face, oh my god face, dizzy face, and silly face. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to read emojis. Although I remember the day when you had to, create the numbers to make the weird faces so you could send someone, I don't know, a smiley face or a whale face or whatever. But, yeah. We have, this week, seeing how the weather's been terrible, I've been designing other things for my own personal use, as well as I had a person reach out, and I custom made these right here. I already had the template because I needed one, but they asked for me to make this. But one he asked was actually 3. I just have one of them over there. But it's a Thames block off plate. So it's the magnetic switch system that they have for the 3rd gen Supras to make the suspension a little bit more sporty. Ultimately, they all suck. They all stop working. Yet they don't make replacements, so you end up deleting it, and then you have a switch there that doesn't do anything. It's hideous. So I made these, and they look fairly factory looking. And I made them blank. Someone was asking for ones where they have a 19 millimeter switch in it. So I made them up for them, shipped them out, and then I ordered the switches, and I wanted to see how well everything goes together. If you look inside this is one of the cool things about being able to rapidly rapidly prototype things. So you can see the back of this has a nice hex head, and the bolt or the nut that goes on the switch lines up and it has a nice friction fit. Doesn't fall out. And then you take your switch, slide it in there, and once you have it in, I just accidentally pushed the nut back out. It's not glued in. But the point of it would be, oh, come on. So you push the nut in. You must not have pushed it in all the way. Once it's in, you gotta line it up like that, and then you just thread it in. And once these are threaded in, like so, you have your switch. Now the goal is to also use the same exact technique in the square body for some of the things I want to do and make it still look factory. The biggest problem comes down to the material you use out of it. Like this is, we have ASA is a really good, it's a type of ABS. It's able to handle a lot of heat, and it looks really good. So I'm gonna try it out with ASA, and I would like to be able to make it out of PETG. It has a better finish in my mind, less likely to have any warping and stuff like that. But we'll see. The standard on it is PETG or ASA. Captain, I did get a new welder. Let's see, handheld portable arc welder from Amazon, under $100. It welds good. Hopefully it welds well. Like a full big welder, but lower power on higher amp, like them spray guns. I don't know. I'm skeptical on those things, but that's just me. I like my MIG. I'd really like to get really good at TIG welding. It would make, there's my end goal for these right here. So obviously you can't just print these out of, you know, ASA or PETG or PLA. Currently it's made out of PLA. The goal is to be able to make these out of, it's called SLM. It's basically, uses 12 lasers, some of the machines have less, to essentially weld the layers of the metal at a micron level. You can make it out of aluminum, you can make it out of titanium if you wanted to. And the cool thing about it is you'd be able to just TIG weld it together. So you get it printed out of aluminum, weld it together, and you can have a nice aluminum intake. Obviously this has no vacuum ports or anything like that. It needs to be brought in, trimmed. I want it to be, you know, more forward a little bit. There's some massaging left, a lot of massaging left in that. The other option is we can, if we grow bigger, we can print it out in a single piece of nylon. You can use SLS for that, or you can use continuous strand. I would prefer using an SLS nylon printer, which again works the same way as the aluminum. It just has lasers that melts the nylon together. And the cool thing about that is it'll be really strong, really solid. And then we're able to make, I mean, it'd be really cool to make, use a laser aluminum. Those machines are real expensive. We're not gonna be able to afford that. But there are companies in the United States that would be able to assist us with that. Yep. Oxyacetylene, those are fun. I do like those. So I have a couple questions for you guys. Other than the square body this year, which hopefully we start that. They say April showers bring May flowers, but really just brings May mud. I don't mind mud. I can put an easy up out to keep the sun off of the camera so that it doesn't overheat. But I can't bring my cameras out in the rain. It allegedly can handle rain a little bit. Not that we've had a little bit of rain, it's been a lot of bit of rain. But I also really can't afford to replace the cameras. So we're gonna wait until we have nice weather. We'll put the easy up to avoid having them overheat. We can dig into the square body, but what I wanna know from you guys is what other things do you want us to work on? Obviously I have some projects on the Super that need to be done this year. The biggest part is I have the interior stripped so I can do something. Very, very basic stuff. Mostly just take all the extra trimming off of it and put paint on it. I've said this many of times. I love the way the Buick looks. I think ratty muscle cars are just super sweet. As long as they're not completely clapped out, rotted out, like total messes. Dents, things like that don't bother me. It's just death traps, right? The Buick has very little rust on it. It's amazing. being able to take nuts and bolts off that thing without even heating them up. It's amazing. I know I can say amazing 100 times, but it really is outstanding. But the Supra looks god awful. Captain Dew says, am I going to be putting a gooseneck hitch on the square body or a bumper hitch? So currently the bumper has, so the truck actually has a bumper that has the capacity for a ball. I don't know why you'd use that, but I do have a frame trailer hitch. It's a class 4. It's currently running in class 4. I think I might bump it up to a class 5. As far as gooseneck, I'm up in the air for that. The reason why is my goal realistically is to be able to just bring one car from point A to point B, whether it's, this is a pretty heavy, I don't want to get anyone saying I said I'm going or not, because I don't know yet, but hypothetically, truck's ready for Sykeston, we can throw the Buick in it or the Supra in it, and we can drive down there. Eventually I would like to move out of New York State to preferably, it's up in the air where, but preferably a place a little bit warmer that's not so unforgiving as up here. And then it's just a matter of, one car, right? So, gooseneck need bed tailgate removed. I don't think you need to remove the tailgate. I know a lot of people that have goosenecks in their trucks with the tailgate in it. Oh, Captain Dew, I did see the photo where you have the leaf springs and a traditional springs as well. I shouldn't say traditional springs, coil springs in your truck. That's an interesting setup. Okay, very interesting. It's called Helper Springs, I believe what it was. Okay, or what it was. It's a couple questions for you guys. What kind of, I know, I kind of have a feeling you're gonna probably go more traditional here. What's your favorite kind of engines that you guys that are in the live chat right now? What kind do you like? Like I have this big old 440 sitting right here that someday I'd really love to. I prefer putting in an A-body. Would have loved, like, perfect world, E-body. You have, the 7M GTE, Buick 455, the LS, 2 Buick 350s, a bunch of small, big blocks out in the garage, big block Chevy, things like that. Or do you prefer more modern stuff, like the LS or are you interested in the 4200? Are you interested in the 1UZ? Overload springs. I don't know why I have them, but I never knew of them exiting the back of the truck. But also, I'm really interested in ideas that you guys might have. Things for me to, problems that you've had that you think could be solved. Thought about designing an umbrella type of cover for your camera. I actually haven't. It's not a bad idea. I have small rig on it, so in theory I could definitely put a cold shoe on the bottom. I could print and then insert a insertable nut that goes into the bottom of the plastic, and it's thermally. You put the heat to it and it pushes in. And I could put a cold shoe on the bottom of that, and then I could in theory build a little shield for it. It's not a bad idea. It's worth spending some time on. Thank you. Any car for that 440? Not yet. As it stands right now, I had the crank ring machine. The crank's fully machined, and it's been drilled for a pilot bearing, so we could run it in a manual car. So I need bearings for it. I need a timing cover. I need a cam for it, lifter. I need everything. I would like to throw aluminum heads on it. Personally, if I had enough money, I'd love to do a collaboration with not just Mopar Joe, because if you want to see with someone that's doing some pretty spectacular things with Mopar big blocks, I mean, Mopar Joe's got some pretty awesome things going on. If you haven't seen his channel already, you got to check it out. Them GoPros don't do well anymore. I don't use GoPros anymore. I have a few of them. They're they kind of get used in sacrificial locations. They're still the old 7 Pro Black Heroes, whatever they are. I use Canon R6s and cinema cameras. If I need something a little bit smaller, I find that the iPhone does a phenomenal job. So when I was filming and doing stuff for Hemmings, I would run a R6, a C70, and my iPhones. The iPhone has a little bit. I can fix the color in post as long as it doesn't take in too much light. The iPhone likes to take in too much light, which is fine, but you can't shoot it in RAW. If you can't shoot it in RAW or any type of log format, it's really hard to fix the overbearing light difference. But I use the same lenses on the C70 as I do the R6s, so that makes it a lot easier. And then I have a small rig that actually, I take the iPhone case off and I put the small rig around the iPhone, and it allows me to use it on GoPro stands or regular stands and stuff like that. But the picture quality on the iPhone 13 Max is so much better than the GoPros. GoPro cams have gotten outdated, like the older iPhone. It's just the GoPros, the DJI action cameras. I don't like the color on those. They have a lot of blue in it for some reason. The iPhone right now, I'm being murdered by that light right there, but the iPhone does a really good job. I can't. The 360s, I'm pretty interested in. I haven't bought any of those yet, but and then I have drones. So it's kind of like the cool thing about getting a 360 with the invisible stick is to be able to put it on the back of the car with 3 little suction cups and have a nice chase that looks like a drone, but I have a drone, so just use a drone. There was some hilarious situations that weren't so hilarious at the time. Like we were filming somewhere, and I was in one of the vehicles, the chase vehicles, and the drone, the main people from the show were in one of the cars, and I had following them, running the drone, and the drone wanted to go home. And it's like, no, so we had to stop because the battery was getting low. It was 30 minutes from where we started, so we had to stop, pull over, which, wasn't a big deal. Had to land the drone, put a new battery in, and then launch back out. So, I mean, in that case, having the 360 camera would be nice. Captain Do says, not a fan of Apple products, Windows type. So all of my computer stuff, I build my own computers. It's kind of outdated now, although I still think that the 4090 is a better graphics card than the 5090. But yeah, I have a fully custom built computer with what is it? So it's got a 4090 in it, and I want to say it's over 200 gigs of RAM. But that was built so that I can do 4K editing if I needed to. It's super overpowered for what I use it for, but knowing that some companies, like 4K is a minimum when doing work for other companies. YouTube, most of my stuff I end up editing and uploading it in 1080p because 90% of the people are going to be watching it on an iPhone or an Android phone or whatever, and some will be running it on their computer. But 4K is just, unless you're running it on a 70-inch screen, which 14 to 20% of viewership is on something like that, there's no point. If you are starting your own YouTube channel, there is no need to have tens of thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment. You can do it with an iPhone or an Android phone. As far as Android is better than iPhone, they're the same thing. They're both made in China. Some of them are made with very similar components, if not some. Not exactly the same, but pretty darn close. I wish there was better options. I used to use what do you call it? First, it was the BlackBerry. Then it was, I personally started out with the Jack and the Blackjack, and then the Blackjack 2. And then I switched over to the Microsoft phones, which sucked. They were garbage. Great software, but the hardware from Nokia at that point was just trash. So, Captain Do says I got 4K PC Windows 11 Pro. So I got 4K, 4K monitors. I hate the 4K monitors. I wish I stuck with 1080p. Again, your eye can't tell. I figured it would be a good idea for editing to have the 4K, but it causes so many issues. Like some of the old games I like to play, if I have an opportunity, trying to play 4K on some of the stuff is just annoying. So if you want to play, there's mods you can run in Morrowind to be able to run 4K, but it's just tedious. But yeah, it's half dozen one hand, half the other. I'm a full members of Microsoft for Xbox since 2000. So I bought an Xbox. It was my birthday money and my Christmas money. It's some of the money I had worked off at the time to buy an Xbox in 2002. It's where I got LunarOutlaw from. It was, you could put in a username and it would generate suggestions. You couldn't actually choose your username at the time. And it came up with some really, I wanted a Stargate related username. And it just wouldn't let me pick my own, and it generated 12 usernames or something like that. And LunarOutlaw was one of them. Like, that sounds close enough, good enough, let's go. So I've had LunarOutlaw since '02. And I would very much like to be able to get whoever has LunarOutlaw on X to not have LunarOutlaw on X, but that's besides the point. It's copyrighted, it's trademarked, I still can't get them to stop using it. Because it does not reflect my brand at all. But as far as Windows 11 sucks. I hate it. Loathe it. Windows 95 and 98 was amazing, right? XP, absolutely peak, right? Awesome. The 64-bit version of it was rough. And then Vista had issues, mostly that most of the computers running it did not have enough RAM to properly run it, so it all ran like garbage. And it's just, 7 was good. I liked 7. 10 was stupid. 8 was really dumb. And Windows 11 could really pound sand. I've never had a problem with opening up like a file. Never had a problem with opening up a file inside Windows 11. It's dumb. My little bro is more into PlayStation. So right out of college, I got a job as a store manager at GameStop, and I was gifted on opening day, or on release day, an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4. And PlayStation was all right. I had nothing against it. It was just, it doesn't really, a lot of the games just don't do it for me. So I ended up trading it in and then just buying Xbox games. I mean, you can get Grand Theft Auto on both, and you can play Grand Theft Auto with everybody, but I found like I loved it, Halo, the first Halo, second Halo, third Halo, were really good. So now I really don't have time playing that type of stuff. So my Xbox, I have an Xbox One X or whatever, and it's used so the kids can watch, every so often a TV show. Wife and I were watching a show called Ghosts Night on it. Yeah. I play Red Dead Redemption on it probably once a month, if I'm lucky. Forza Horizon 5 is getting... Oh, it's going on PlayStation 5. I wonder if it has something to do with... I'm getting kind of in trouble for buying up Bethesda. The Forza Horizon games are pretty fun. But... yeah, as far as the 440, yeah, I don't have a car that's want to put it in, but I'd like to get a car to put it in. It's just not a priority. I want to put something that 4.2 liter Vortec is. The big thing is anyone have any questions about the square body? We have Some of the list of parts that are going to be going into is a decoded digital dash. We have a whole thing. We're going to be showing how to jailbreak your computer with the HP tuner, how to get it wired, how to integrate it, how to make it more seamless. One of the goals I want to have is, is to not just have the ECU in there. I want to stick the ECU inside. I don't want to make it visible. If it has to be outside, I'll make it so that you can't see it. Any radio for the GMC. Currently it has the factory one, which is unfortunate, that they got it with only an AM radio. I could have swore it had an FM, but I can't figure out how it switched. I remember switching it over to FM at some point, but apparently not, because I can't figure out how to do it now. So I want to get a retro styled radio that looks correct, but with the goal of having Bluetooth. And then I have almost 100 pounds of sound deadening to go into the vehicle to make it so I'm fighting an uphill battle on this. Square bodies are not known for being very rattle free. They like to whistle, they like to rattle, they like to do everything that could annoy a human being. So my goal is to make it as close as a modern vehicle as possible. Again, but I'm going to be putting extra speakers into it. The goal, everyone to be comfortable. It's going to have really great air conditioning, and it's going to have great sound. That's not for me. None of the cars I ever built ever have air conditioning, and most of them have had the radios pulled out because I'd rather listen to the engine than the radio. But my wife does not agree with that, and my kids, however, they would enjoy it for a certain point. 16-hour ride. Newer gen folks have heard of 8-tracks or cassettes. So back when I was 14, the car that made me want the 88 Supra was I want to say it was a real early, I don't remember exactly when it was. It was a Trans Am. It was a Trans Am, and it had an 8-track in it. Oh man, that was cool. That thing was wicked cool. Now, looking back at it, right, I would love to get a Trans Am. Build quality between the 3rd generation Supra and any of those GMs, whether it's 72 or 89. They're tough, guys. They are. Really cool looking, but I would buy a Fox body Mustang before I bought an F body anything. F stands for frustration. I love the way they look. I would love to have an IROC. It would be sweet. I would rock that thing. But if you have to replace the fuel pump inside of the fuel tank, I did a whole video series with Junior on their F body, and I think it's an 88, 89. I can't remember now. Irregardless, in order for you to replace the fuel tank, you have to drop the entire rear axle to access the fuel tank, remove the fuel tank, and then put a new one in. That's why so many people will cut an access panel in the back of the bed, or the trunk area of the F bodies. And it frustrates me that so many people, and oh my God, it makes me mad. It's a dangerous thing. You can put a gasket and close it all up, but it's not factory. It's dangerous. That's what, you can get all kinds of fumes up through there. If there's ever a fire, you put yourself in a real bad situation. And they do it with Supras, the 3rd gen Supras. People will cut holes in the area to drop the tank, get to the tank to replace the fuel pump. I can pull the fuel tank out of the Supra without even jacking it up. It's 2 bolts. And there's you can take a 3/8 drive, put it on there, ratchet the little tank plug out of it, drain all the fuel into a catch pan, put it into fuel tanks so that you can use them later, and just drop the tank. It takes maybe an hour between draining all the fuel out of it and dropping the tank. It takes more time to go through and cut a hole in the back of your car than to do it right. Do it right, guys. Right? I don't understand. Someone I respect with those cars did one of those recently, and I was just like, what? Why? I couldn't believe that. Fox body Mustang, my cousin had one. She said the XL model. I remember the XL was more of a coupe. So I know someone that has one, a notchback. Don't like the notchback. Can't stand the notchback. I actually don't really like the Fox body styling at all. To me, it looks like an economy car. But we did a series, which was on Mav TV. I didn't film that one. I actually helped build that car. And it was a Pro-Charged 5.0 Fox body Mustang. Was it a 5.0? I think it was a 5.0. I can't remember now. It's been almost 2 years. And wicked cool vehicle. Really nice. Florida car, so it had some weird rust on it, but nothing like nothing underneath it. It was all pitted on the top. But the safety on it's dumb. It just has a foam bar. Like, literally no metal, it's just foam for your bumper. So if you have an accident, that's going to do a lot. But other than putting frame stiffeners in it, great car. That's one thing that Toyota did right, and I wish GM and anyone else that had unibodies, whether it was GM, Mopar, or Ford, when they did unibodies, you have to run a connector from the front frame to the rear frame. Technically speaking, like the first gen Camaro is not a unibody. The front whole frame thing is like an extended part of it, and you still need to connect them. But there's no need to it. Like the Toyota Supras, the third gen, fourth gen, they run from the front frame rail all the way to the back, right to where your ass sits in the back seat, and or just right in front of it. And it just jives a little bit with a cross beam, and it has a whole structure. And then there's the rear frame rail. So I don't know why that's uncommon in American cars. I wish they would do that. Aux Audio. Hey, if you guys have an opportunity, head over to Aux Audio's YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. He actually bought, I can't remember what colors, but he bought both. One of the carb buddies that go on top of the carburetor and one that goes on top of the intake manifold. And it looks, if you guys buy these, like if you want to help support the channel, you want to help VANZANDT Industry, head over there, buy carb buddies, buy block off plates, whatever you need. If you're working on carbureted stuff, buy them. And it helps the channel, because you know, all I have to do is pay the fee for the transaction, and that's it. And you know, the greatest part about it is I'm just super excited to see someone use it. And Aux did a great little video, and I'll be honest with you, that's what I want. I want to see people out there with the products, taking pictures. I want to create a really cool, what do you call it, photo gallery of everything that you guys are using the products for. I don't even care if you buy one of the business card holders or one of the big things here. Like, if you want to get a 1UZ or an LS block and put it up somewhere, take a picture of it. I want to see it. I want to see them out in the wild. I want to see them being used. But yeah, the car buddies that he has are being well put to use, and I'm very happy about it. In my 68-300, it's nice background listening to the AM amplitude. We actually did so at our shop down in Troy, which, you know, it's defunct now. But whenever we had days where we had to stay back at the shop, do cleaning or repair on some piece of equipment, whether it's a transformer, you know, whatever we needed to do. If we had an old, I think it was out of a '74 pickup truck that had long been, you know, decommissioned and scrapped. As a work truck, it was just used up. But we had a power inverter, converted it down to 12 volts DC. And yeah, we just ran car stereos, and it was just on the wall. It was great. Didn't sound amazing, but it kept you busy. D-Sims 3. There are many vehicles that have access to fuel tanks from inside the vehicle. It can be done safe. Yes, they have an engineer that comes up with it. It's got a gasket that seals it up properly. They're fire rated. That's one of the big things. Like you start cutting up your car, God forbid, right? If your car starts on fire and you've done modifications to your firewall, your rear exhaust, or your rear pan for your bed, your trunk bed, floor, whatever. If there's a fire and it gets into your car, that's on you. You driving down the road and you die because of, asphyxiation because the carbon monoxide comes up through the back, that's on you. Now, engineers, so I went to school for science in engineering. I'd be a terrible engineer. I like to over-engineer things. That's why my car buddies, like, my goal is to make it so that you didn't have a problem with them. I went way above and beyond on how these things are manufactured. And bad engineer. Good engineer is, this is what you need to do. This is what it needs to do. Make it X percentage stronger. I have a buddy that is a phenomenal engineer, like way smarter than I am. And given, like, if this all takes off, I'm going to hire him because I will put myself into debt making sure that the product I make is way above what it needs to be. So, like, if the safety rating is supposed to be 5%, I would like it to be 100%. He'll probably talk me to, like, can we do 75? And I'd be like, 75 is doable. 5% isn't. But also, he's smarter than me. And I have a lot more than just intake manifolds I want to make. So, yeah, they're done specifically. Fastback versus notchback Mustang. Fastback model is has more space for cargo. Yeah, it's not even. I don't care about the space. I care about the looks. Also, speaking of looks, take a look at this guy's special edition, 1776 edition of the Car Buddy. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? I have to hide this because my oldest son is going to steal this and I'll never see it again. And I'm really looking forward to seeing this on one of my cars at a car show, i.e. the 63 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. So, anywho, my son finds it, it's gone. He's already stole 2 of the Car Buddies. The other one stole one of the gold ones. Samantha has one of the other versions of the Car Buddies. Have I ever thought about doing, no, I can't say that I've never thought about owning a small British car. And that's because I know people that have owned them and I have no interest. You can keep the Jags, you can keep them all. However, being my favorite manufacturer, my favorite car, the absolute favorite car, of course, 3rd Gen Super. Second favorite car, Buick. I would say the GS Stage 1 1970 is in between that and the 1970 Coupe, preferably with the 440. 6-pack, as long as I'm not trying to tune that monstrosity. So those are my 2 favorites. But the big part is Buick has a great option. It's not technically a Buick. It was sold at the Buick dealership. So, hey, look at that nice Buick. An Opel GT. I want an Opel GT. 100% Opel GT. Want one. I don't know what I'd do with it. Autocross it probably. But an Opel GT would be phenomenal. Yes, as Clarkson would say, Jag. But yeah, the Opel GTs are, they would put Hemis, like we're talking 1st generation Hemis in those things, and drag race those. I don't know what I'd put in one, but I want to have a lot of fun in one. But that being said, I'm starting to lose the voice, so I think I'm going to hop off for tonight, guys. Catch you again. Hopefully next week. My voice is, I'm still kind of nursing whatever the heck that was a couple weeks ago. It's kind of stuck. But hopefully next week we can stay for a little bit longer. And hopefully next time we have a live stream, I'll have some work on the square body done. I'm losing my mind. I'm getting stir crazy. I want to get it done. But the weather's not cooperating. So anyways, you guys have yourselves a wonderful night. Keep your shiny side up. There we go. And God bless.